Chronic Health. I'm your host Ryan Lovelace, and today's video I'm going to be going over 3 shoulder exercises that you need to stop doing, and here's why. So the head of the humerus, it has both internal and external rotation. Whenever your arm is in internal rotation, it makes it even more crowded for your shoulder joint to move in the ways that it's supposed to. And this is already crowded up here. You don't want to crowd it anymore. So whenever you're putting your arms into internal rotation, then you can already kind of feel it getting tight within you. Keep your arm in internal rotation by putting your thumb down, bring your arm up, and then when you get up to here, you can see it, you can feel it start to get already crowded in this area. You're already feeling the bones that are already in there, you're starting to get crowded. So what you want to do is you want to free up as much space in here as you can. So then come back down here, turn your thumb back up, and now lift up, and you'll feel that it's much freer when you go up, when your thumb is up, because that then puts your arm into external rotation. So you want to keep your shoulder into external rotation. Reason being is when your arms are in internal rotation and you put a load, like you grab a dumbbell of some sort, you grab a load. Whenever your arm is in internal rotation, it puts more stress on that supraspinatus tendon that's holding that humerus inside what's called the glenoid cavity, inside where it's supposed to be. And so whenever you put it into internal rotation, you make the space in here less free and make it even more tighter in here. So whenever you go to raise up your arm with internal rotation, you can already kind of feel that the humerus is coming up against that acromion that's up here, and that's why you don't want internal rotation whenever you're doing shoulder exercises, because you want freedom of movement within here. And the 3 exercises that I'm going to show you really start to crowd this area, especially if you're putting more and more weight on it. You're putting yourself more at risk for shoulder injuries, to weaken the muscles that need to be strengthened. And if you woke up this morning and said, I want a shoulder impingement, then yeah, keep doing these exercises the way I'm going to show you. So our first exercise is what it's going to be called lateral raises. Now, lateral raises in themselves aren't bad. They're really good for your shoulders. But the problem is, whenever you see or hear people tell you how to do them, they'll say what? Keep your thumb down. They'll say when you're doing them, lift it up, but keep your thumb down. And if you keep your thumb down, what that does is that puts your arm into that internal rotation. It crowds the space up here, doesn't give your shoulder free movement, and then it makes you more at risk to develop an impingement, which impingement is where the supraspinatus tendon gets caught between the humerus, which is your arm bone, and the acromion, which is your bone right here that rises up from your scapula. So whenever you put your arm into internal rotation and then lift it up, where it's has more risk to get pinched within here, that's an impingement. That's what you don't want. So the lateral raise is good, but what you want is to keep your thumb more pointed upward. Imagine if you had a cup of water in your hand, you don't want to dump it out, you want to keep it upright. So whenever you're doing these lateral raises, make sure you keep your thumb up, bring it up. You'll free up movement in here. Again, this is already a tight space anyway. You don't want to make it any tighter by putting your arm into internal rotation. So keep it in that externally rotated position. Exercise number 2 is called bow ties. Now again, if you woke up this morning and you said, I want to develop a shoulder impingement as quickly as possible, this would be where I'd send you. The reason why is, what you'll do is you'd either grab a barbell or 2 dumbbells. You would hold them here, and then you would come up to your chin or to your neck, and then you would keep doing that motion right there. Again, that involves a lot of internal rotation, puts a load, puts strain on the rotator cuff muscles and the rotator cuff tendons, and it puts them in a compromising position since they're so internally rotated. And then you're coming up here, which is just encouraging the humerus to grind up against that acromion and that supraspinatus tendon to get caught in there, and it can get caught, and then you're just constantly rubbing on that rotator cuff tendons, constantly doing this motion right here. So what you need to do is you need to stop doing bow ties. Don't do them all together, but what you can do instead, if you really want to kind of hit more of the upper trap or even the back, is you can do what's called face pulls. And that's where you just get a cable machine, take the rope at about this height, and then pull back like this. That way you get your arms into that externally rotated positions, keep your thumbs up, and you still pull back. And because you're up here, you can still hit your upper and mid traps all in this area. The same thing you're trying to hit with this workout. The third exercise you want to stay away from is behind the head military presses. Now, regular military presses are a great shoulder workout. They really work the front of the delts. You can go down deep here, touch the chest, go back up. But take it behind you, all of a sudden it gets a lot more crowded in your shoulder. Now, like we said at the beginning, your shoulder is already a crowded joint in itself, and you don't want to make it any worse. Putting it back here, it already feels uncomfortable with my shoulders, but then put however much weight you can do, and then press through this already crowded position up through it is just a recipe for making your shoulders less healthy than they could be. So what you'll want to do is still do those military presses, just don't do them behind you, because skeletally speaking, there's virtually no support from the shoulder back here, which is why you have so many ranges of movements. But there is still a little bit of skeletal muscle here that can create that tightness whenever you move it. You know, like I'm not going to go any further back than that, or if I move it up, I'm not going to go any further back from that, because there is some muscles in there that still can, you know, press up against each other and limit your range of movements. And you don't want to take it to the very edge of that range of movement and then add a load to that, because that's not going to be healthy for your joints in the long term. Thank you so much for watching my video today. If you learned something new, or if I reminded you something you already knew, or you have any questions, leave all that down in the comments below. If you'd like to be notified right when my videos go up, make sure to hit that bell icon and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.